Hi, I'm JP. Welcome to Enduro 21's YouTube channel and the test of the 2026 Honda RedMoto Enduro range. And yeah, we are here in sunny Italy. It's nice to be back again. This time we're within a stone's throw of Malpensa Airport. It is a little motocross track, you can see that, but also we've been riding around. There's quite a nice enduro loop in the trees at the top of the hill behind me. It's good to test the bikes and yeah, put the kind of the saucy, glitzy. What's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Aspirational. That's it. As for the bikes themselves, they obviously the standard Honda models are the 250 and the 450. RedMoto create this extra one in the middle, which, as you would expect, is the best combination. I think most people would ride all these bikes and think that the 300 is the best combination. It has the 250 chassis and engine basically, but with a bigger bore, so it has that extra power, and it has noticeable extra power. So I would say the 250 is nice and easy, manageable, nice to live with, and you feel in control of it. You feel like your boss. The 300 is that with a little bit of steroids, and the 450 is just, for me, a little bit too much, a little bit too strong power for doing enduro tests. However, if you're into trail riding and a different kind of ride, cross-country riding maybe, then the 450 is going to be the one. So these bikes are based on they are RX models, but what RedMoto do is take them and turn them more enduro basically. So they add a lot of their own parts, they develop a lot of their own parts, and they homologate the bikes. They come with lights, number plates. It's basically things which make it more enduro. So what else to tell you? Everything you see on this bike is as it comes as standard. So the plastics, they're all RedMoto fitted parts. Obviously the fender with the number plate hanger and the LED rear light. You get things like the fan, radiator braces. The plastics have got these cutouts for cooling, hand guards, front headlight. This is a pretty neat touch to have that sort of extra, not sharp point like you often have on the radiator shrouds. Have that there. And in theory, you pull this off, yeah. So one hand, no tools, access to your air filter. If I can put it back easily. Not too bad. Yeah, that's easy, wasn't it? So that's the thing you get with this bike. You can see that there are two models. This is the standard model, and this is the what they call the special model. and basically for a little over €1,000, somewhere close to that difference, you get even more race-proven parts, I suppose you might say. A quick run through of the special parts on the special edition. So you can see the difference there. So some of these things here are optional extras. That includes a Krapovich exhaust, and if you opt for the actual Recluse internals, that's an optional extra, but everything else is part of the long list. I will no doubt miss some of the parts, but the special edition special models includes tougher rims, kite hubs, steel tooth sprocket. There's a heap of Intec parts around the bike, anodized parts, tougher radiator hoses, Intec things. You can obviously see the Headstrig Rocks triple clamps, actual puller, and AXP linkage protector. You opt for the Krapovich pipe, that's a little bit extra again. That would be a meaningful upgrade, I would say, because one of the things about the standard bikes is you can tell that it's like every standard four-stroke enduro bike. When it's got the standard noise restricted spark arresters and those kinds of things in there, softer and more docile, so to liven up the bike, I think, and also to take away some of the weight from the back end of the bike. That would be a decent investment. One thing I forgot to mention when I was waffling to the camera earlier is the hydraulic clutch. So the 450 and the special bikes, special editions, they all have hydraulic clutches, Magura system, I believe, but the standard 250 and 300, they have cable clutches. You can opt for it as an optional extra, but yeah, as standard you get the only the 450 as the hydraulic one. If you want a bike from RedMoto, I don't want to say the sky is the limit, but you can spec up your bike as deep as your pockets are. Basically, if you want to spend more money, you can spend more money and arrive at a bike which is more or less the same as the Honda RedMoto Enduro racing team bikes, which Samuele Bernardini, Manuel Moratini and Steve Holcombe have been racing. And I mentioned those guys, because they are part of the development process of the bikes that you can buy. So an important part to say, you know, that thing about Hondas being well built and reliable, the parts that RedMoto fit to their bikes are well developed, well tested, in average normal guy enduro conditions, but also at elite level, at enduro GP level. So you can trust the parts are reliable, strong. Is the sun in all right? Maybe the sun's in all right. Maybe just turn slightly. There, that's better. Yes, I'm here. Just a quick catch up with Steve Holcombe. I've been testing the bikes all day, but just from elite level riders' point of view, Steve has raced all three of these models that I've been riding today. Obviously, his race bike, your race bike is not quite the same as the standard models, but yeah. So in your first year with Honda RedMoto, you raced the 250. I think the ISD in Spain, you were on the 400. Yeah, that's correct. And then this year, before your unfortunate injury, you were upgraded, upgraded to the 300. Upgraded. Yeah. So just how you sort of, I guess, how you categorise those three different models, really. Yeah,
I mean the 250 I think is a great bike, quite competitive. But I think for me and my kind of riding style, the 300 that I raced this year is a lot better for me. I prefer a little bit more torque. The 250, you've got to be a little bit more aggressive. The bike's a lot lighter and a lot more agile, but the 300 for me, I think, is the best kind of compromise. Yeah, with this year's edition, they only have the 450. You can still purchase the 400. Yep. So yeah, I raced that in the 6 days last year. It's good, but coming from a 250 straight to a 450, there was a bit of a shock to the system of how much bigger that bike is. I think a fantastic bike, and the same with the 450 to kind of go on trail rides, to be really smooth. But I think when you really start to try and push it, you realize how big a 450 is. And especially a bike that's derived from a motocross bike, it has the characteristics of that. But you have all the good things with a Honda about the reliability, how comfortable it is, how stable it is. That's one thing I've really noticed when I first jumped on the Honda. But yeah, I'd say my preference is the 300.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
Here comes a massive red tractor. Couple of important details to add is that the RedMoto team, they work quite hard on developing their own engine maps and traction control, so you have a wide range of settings to play with actually on all three bikes. Just a quick one on the maps. You've got traction control here, so that's in setting 1. Press and hold it, turns it off. The map selection switch, so that's in 1, which is standard. Press and hold. That's 2, which is a wetter map, softer map, I think. 3 is the more aggressive map. Press it again, back to 1, standard. I won't say I always notice the difference, if I'm perfectly honest, on this track. But you can tell the difference between standard map, softest rain kind of map, and then a harder map, especially if you start introducing the different traction control settings. And in the end, it gives you, I don't know what, 9, 10, something like that, different options to play with, to have your bike set for how you ride, what the conditions are like. And they are heavily developed by RedMoto with Athena, I believe. So, you know, you can trust these parts is what I'm trying to say there. Also, but yeah, good test all in all. And it's, you know, a lot of people arrive at, they want to buy an Enduro bike, and there's one end of the scale is steel framed, softer, more manageable Enduro bikes, maybe a 2-stroke, which is lighter, easier, better for trail riding, say, and, you know, obviously for hard Enduro. And at the other end of the scale, there are lots of manufacturers who base their bikes on motocross bikes like this. And it depends, you know, where you fall, which kind of bike is going to be interesting, which one you're going to be more attracted to. I think a lot of people are attracted naturally to Hondas. But obviously, if you're a hard Enduro guy, this one's not for you. But I absolutely suggest if you're Enduro test kind of guy or girl, then these bikes are out the box, ready to go. They're really good Enduro test, you know, that kind of traditional Enduro test bikes. You feel comfortable standing on them. They've got a really good riding position. The mapping's all sorted out. The bikes run. The fueling and the throttle feel is good. The brakes, if anything, the front brake is too good, a bit too strong. Shower suspension, well proven. You know, everything is complete and ready to go. So, massive thumbs up. I think the only thing left to add, the only thing to say is that the difficulty you've got, depending on where you are in the world, is going to be getting hold of one. If you're here in Italy, is no problem. But if you're viewing this from North America or Australia, even a couple of other parts of Europe, it's more difficult. And maybe you need to get on the ferry and come across and put some things in a container. As ever, stay tuned to enduro21.com, the website, because that's where, from a test like this, I will put more technical information, more details really about this test and about the bikes, including prices and the full spec list of what you get compared to the standard Honda RX models. And yeah, over and out from Malpensa and Italy.